Hello, it's Miss Keen. I'm going to talk to you about volume of a cylinder, cone, and sphere. So you can see the formulas up here on the screen. You might want to pause the video and write them down if you don't know them or you don't have a reference sheet with them already written down. I'm going to do an example of each. So first of all, what's this? A cylinder. Sorry. And the formula is pi r squared h. I'm going to give you some good practice. I always start by writing the formula. So, I've been doing math for many years, and I just think it's always good practice to write down the formula so that it's a good habit and you have it right there. So essentially what you're doing is taking the formula and substituting in the numbers from the example into the formula, and you're solving for the V. All right. So I'm going to leave pi for a second. I'm going to put in radius. Radius is half the distance across your circle. So sometimes you're given the full distance across the circle, and sometimes you're given, and that's called the diameter, and sometimes you're given half. In this case, the 8 represents half. I can tell that by the dotted line, so I'm going to put 8 squared, and my height is 20. So I'm going to grab my calculator and multiply this all together. So I'm going to do pi. Sometimes in the problem, they'll tell you to use 3.14 or they'll tell you to use the pi button. Me personally, I always use the pi symbol unless they tell me 3.14. Your answer will come out very similar, so it's really, unless they tell you, it's kind of your preference. So 8 squared and 20. All right. So just show you what I have in my calculator. I have pi times 8 squared times 20. Okay. And usually in a problem, they'll tell you what to round it to. If they don't tell you what to round it to, I usually go out 2 digits, so the hundredths place. Or they'll tell you the tenths place. So you just have to kind of do close reading and pay attention. So in this case, our answer would be 4,021. I'll go to the tenths place. So 4,021.2, which is 4,021 and 2 tenths. All right, write that on my screen. Now, you're not done there. Anytime you're asked to find the volume is always a three-dimensional unit. So you're finding the space inside, in this case, a cylinder. So you always want to end it with the units. So in this case, it's centimeters, and it's always to the third power. Volume always ends in units to the third power. And yes, that is important. I'll make another video about why it's important. All right, let me get you to the next example. Cone, okay? So here you have a formula right up here. Now the volume of a cone is V equals 1/3 pi radius squared times height. It's actually the same formula as the cylinder. The only difference is this 1/3. Okay. So people get a little hesitant about using, they see a fraction and they get a little hesitant. So I'll tell you what I do. There's lots of different ways to do fractions in the calculator, but I'm just going to show you what I, over my course of my history in math, find the easiest. So right here, I just use the parentheses, 1 divided by 3. That's it. That's 1/3. Okay. 1/3 is not equal to 0.33 and it's not equal to 0.3. Those are estimates. 1/3 is an irrational number. It continues off into infinity. So it's best and more accurate if you can just use 1/3. All right, so let's plug our numbers in here. Okay, so have V equals 1/3 times pi. Now radius. Now, if you see here, this radius is 8, but it goes across the whole distance of that circle. So I only want half of it because, the 8 is the diameter because it goes across the whole distance of the circle. I only want half of that. So my radius is 4. So this is going to be 4 squared times my height. Then I grab my calculator and I put all those figures in. And I'll show you what it looks like. So I have 1/3 in parentheses times pi times my radius squared, 4 squared, times my height, which is 9. Okay, and here we go. So I'll round to the 10th place on this one. So 150 point. Now, when you round, if I'm going to the 10th place, that's 1 digit after the decimal. So I want to look at the second digit. If it's 5 or above, I round up. If it's below 5, I round down. So it's 9. So I need to round up. So this would be 150.8 or 150 and 8/10. And I always use my units on volume. So this is feet. I'm trying not to, I could just move my face. There we go. To the 3rd power. It's always to the 3rd power. All right, last one, sphere. All right, here's our formula. V equals 4/3. So we have another fraction. I'm going to do the same thing I just did with the 1/3. Now this is times radius to the 3rd power. Excuse me. All right. So my radius, I can see with my red line, is 8. So I'm going to put my fraction in, my calculator, which is just 4 divided by 3. Again, I put it in parentheses just for grouping purposes, times pi, or 3.14, radius to the 3rd power. So my radius is 8. Now you can do 8 times 8 times 8. That's fine. Or if you're using a calculator, there we go. I have 8 to the 3rd power. The way you get the 3rd power in is, I'm a little bit in a mirror image here. Okay. On my calculator, it's right here, this up caret. That's how you get exponents in other than 2. So you're going to put 8 and then you press this up caret and then you put the 3 in and it'll make an exponent. If you're using the regular TS35s, the exponent up caret is on the left-hand side of your calculator over here. All right, so once I put those in, 2144. There we go. 2144. I'll go to the hundredths place on this one. So 0.66 or 66 100ths. So V equals 2144.66. And my units are meters to the third power. That's a 3. Sorry. It's always units to the third power. Some people I see make a mistake and they put the exponent attached to up here with the number. It's not the number that's being raised to the third power, because you already did that right here. It is the units, the meters. It's meters times meters times meters because it's three-dimensional. All right, that's it for volume. Thank you.